Kendy, what is happening?
Hey, hey, hey.
Good to get you. Look at you all fabulous.
Oh, well, I figured you're recording, so I needed to
Oh, stop it. You're always glowing. So I appreciate you taking time to kick it with me. And before I get to how you became a member of this Collab team, let me brag about you a little bit because you're not gonna. Graduate of Leadership, Susquehanna Valley, past president of Lewisburg Sunset Rotary, board member of Greater Susquehanna Valley Chamber of Commerce, and currently mayor of Lewisburg. So just tell me how you decided that you really wanted to be involved in that community.
So it's really funny because this coming Thursday, I'm doing a talk as part of MLK Week at Bucknell, and just talking about, my own personal journey, but it's not just about me. Like, I think about why we moved to this country in the first place in the 80s, and the reasons.
From Trinidad, right?
From Trinidad. The reasons that my father brought us here. And that there's always been, for him, this civic engagement, this need to be involved. And I realized that it stems from this sense of creating community that comes with belonging somewhere and feeling like, you aren't the other.
Right.
And that ultimately that's what drove me to this. I've been involved in a variety of ways in my community, and this just became another way for me to be involved and impactful.
Yeah, and you've been in that area most of your life, correct?
Yeah, so we moved here in the 80s. I'll age myself if I say specifically when.
You don't have to.
But yeah, after high school, I moved away, like most of us, who grew up in this area, you're like, oh, I'm leaving. And then I left, and there was this boomerang effect. Like, I kept coming back. And in 2013, I was like, all right, I'm back. This is what I'm doing. I'm here.
Yeah, and so how do you get into the mortgage business? Because it's not a kind of business that people just jump into.
I fell into it, like, completely, just unexpectedly. I mean, so when I lived in Florida, I worked at Washington Mutual. So I'll age myself there by telling you I worked at WAMU, right? Yeah. And so after high school, I lived in South Florida for a little bit, and I worked as a teller in Washington Mutual. So I had some experience banking. Then after I graduated from Bucknell, I worked for JP Morgan Chase, more WAMU.
Yeah.
And so I've had this banking experience that when I was looking for something and wasn't sure what to do, there was this temp opportunity to work with a mortgage company. And I was like, why not? Turns out that I quickly picked up the business. And so I've kind of been lingering around the mortgage industry since 2007, but haven't dove full in until 2013.
And how did you connect with Megan and Andre?
So I don't know, probably, it was a while ago. I'd heard of Dre. If you're paying attention to mortgage news in the Susquehanna, in the central Pennsylvania, you hear of him because it's a phenomenal story. He's just such a personality that you hear about him. So then when I was looking for somewhere to go, I wasn't, I needed some more change professionally, and I connected with them, and it just, our personalities fit. And for me, I tell people, even when when people are shopping me when it comes to mortgages, I was like, you can buy your mortgage from anyone. We sell the exact same product.
Right.
But what you're coming to me for is that you understand that I'm going to service you differently, and the level of service that you get, and the fact that I'm looking out for not just getting you into a mortgage, but is this mortgage going to serve your needs over time, and that we're going to continue that communication and we're going to build a relationship. That's the same type of relationship I formed with Dre, even though I didn't initially start working with them when I was first looking.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I have the same story. I just would see Dre around, and he's actually not even the one that recruited me. It was actually Mike Cawley who recruited me. And then, and I already knew I liked Dre, and then I met Megan, and the vibe was there.
Yeah. Well, and she's a force to be reckoned with. Like, I don't understand anyone who tells Meg no and thinks that that's the end of it. Like, I don't think that happens. If they know what's good for them, I don't think that happens. I think, like, for her, a no is a not. She firmly understands. A no is either a not yet or a not now. Like, but if that's something that she wants, she's going after it, and I love that about her. Well said.
Because yeah, we didn't collaborate the first time, but a little bit over a year later, it was yes, and the timing was right. And that's actually, I love my Collab lending family, and that's why I wanted to do this, because you guys are, number one, you're not going to brag about yourselves, but what I pulled out of our retreat in Seven Springs is we just have this really diverse group of people who are in it for the relationships and not just the transaction. So there's that commonality about it. But we have, as I say, the Avengers of the Justice League, just all these different personalities, but with one goal. So what's the best part of what you do?
That I get to help to shape my community. So, you know, like, where you live is a reflection of who you are, you know, because the people that you interact with and the community that you build becomes it becomes a mirror. And it's either going to reflect back light or it's going to reflect back darkness. And I just want it to reflect back light. And I want the people that live here to be happy. I want people to have mortgages that fit their financial needs, where they feel like they can make their payments, they're comfortably within their financial goals, but also in a way that they're not so strapped that they're working 2 or 3 jobs just to get by and not able to give back and give into their community. And that's really what's important to me. And this just gives me that opportunity to make sure that, like, if you need to refinance because you need a lower rate, because you need better, you know, terms on your mortgage, that's one thing. But if you want to refinance because it gives you some cash out so that you can invest in your child's education, because you want them to, you know, prosper, but also feel like they can go off into the world for college and come back here because it's a wonderful place to live, work, and play, then, like, I feel like I'm a part of that.
That's awesome. And what kind of charities are you involved in? Because I know I didn't look it up, but I just knowing you are involved in charities.
So there are a couple of nonprofits that I support. So, like, there's Lewisburg Downtown Partnership, which is it's our Main Street organization. And so it really works on small businesses and helping the small businesses in town. I am lead organizer with 1 Million Cup Susquehanna Valley. It's an entrepreneurship ecosystem. We come together on the second Wednesday of every month to talk about entrepreneurship and ways that we can build community. You know, most people are used to their work friends being the people that they see 9 to 5. But entrepreneurs have a whole different aspect. You know, you don't go to the office and interact with other people. So you have to find other ways to find, you know, that community. I work with the United Way of the Greater Susquehanna Valley. I'm on their Diversity and Impact Coalition. I am currently working with the Seroptimist Group, which is a phenomenal outreach program for young women to build leadership. The community zone. I know. I'm like, I can tell.
That's a lot. That's a lot. And then, you know, I know one of your charges as being the mayor is more synergy between Bucknell and the community. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, we're a college town, but I like to think we are not just a college town. And oftentimes people think of a college town and they're immediately like, the college kids. But I think that there's tons of opportunity for us to work together. The students at Bucknell are very involved in nonprofits in our area, between fraternity and sorority affairs and the fact that they, do most of their service hours within our communities. But also there's this Management 101 program. It's a course that's taught in the management department where those students give back a certain number of hours through the development of a company. And that happens every semester. So, there are all of these relationships that happen, and they're amazing, but nobody's really looking at them all and saying, all right, are we using the students to the best capacity? Like when we're talking about them donating their time, are they doing it in ways that provide them educational opportunities and maximize the output that our agencies are getting? And I'm hoping that building a deeper relationship with the university will help to solve that so that everybody wins, from getting more out of the relationship. They couldn't have elected a better person to do that.
If someone is watching, I really want to try to get the message out. Someone who's thinking about getting their first home and may not think they're ready for whatever reason, what would you say to that person?
So there's this, it's funny that you say that because there's this reel that I planned on doing this week that it really focuses on entrepreneurs, but it talks about starting before you're ready. Like anytime you're looking to make any change, it's important that you start before you're ready. You don't wait until you think you're ready and then you start, because then you're behind the 8 ball. And so for me, when it comes to first-time home buyers, you need to start before you're ready. It's getting everything prepared so that you are ready to buy. And that could be as simple as, have you looked at a budget and figured out how much you can really afford with your income? And had a serious look at your budget. And are there expenses that you can, that need to go by the wayside because you want to buy your first home? Have you taken a look at your credit? Have you, had a real look at what the other costs are in your community? Because it's not the same. Living in the borough costs different than living in the township next to us. And understanding those implications and understanding, why the taxes are different between the two communities, and are there sewer fees? Like, are there other expenses? What are the average heating and cooling expenses for our area? Getting an idea of those things you can do before you start actually looking at homes. And it makes you a more informed buyer.
Right. So if that person has just been inspired by exactly what you said, how will they get in contact with you?
Well,
because you can provide all that insight.
Yeah, there are some fun ways to get in touch with me. So on social media, you can find me at Mortgage SRV, and the SRV stands for the Susquehanna River Valley because that's where I live. And so that is on Facebook or on Instagram. I make it really easy. Or just give me a call, 570-556-6302.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time. And I am, as one of the older heads in the company, I'm inspired by you and so happy to be a part of your world now, and that we're in the trenches together, trying to put people in homes and realize the American dream.
Like we young folk just walk in the footsteps that you have laid ahead of us. So, well, you guys got big shoes to fill.
Well, I wear 15, so don't even try it. Thanks so much for your time and good luck in 2022.
Thank you, BA.